Hi, welcome to 7 Report and our first look at the Kangertech Subtank Mini. A little earlier we looked at the Subtank Nano, which is smaller. Subtank Mini is a little bit bigger and it has something that the Nano doesn't. Let's open this up. I've been waiting for this one for a long time to open it up since we opened up the Nano. We'll see what's inside the box here and then give you a little close-up view, give me a little bit of time to read the owner's manual, take it apart, put it back together, put some juice in it, and we'll do some vaping on it as well. And let's see if this opens up the same way as the Nano. Okay, that way. And again, we get the caution about the organic cotton coils, that you need to prime them before you vape on them, especially the very first time. You got here the tank itself. And those red O-rings are a little bit more visible on the Mini than they are on the Nano. Put that down, don't roll away. Let's see what's beneath that. There's the manual and also the product authenticity card that you can check on Kangertech's website. And then inside, you've got a whole bunch of stuff. Now, this comes with, I believe it's the 0.5 ohm coil already mounted inside the tank. Yes, it is. It also has a 1.2 ohm coil and then the rebuildable. And with it, there are some of that organic cotton, the Japanese cotton. There's a second Pyrex tank, and then some extra O-rings and screws and a little screwdriver and another coil for the rebuildable. And we'll change the camera angles, get a little closer view of this stuff, and then we'll take it apart, put some juice in it, and start vaping. First I want to read that owner's manual though. So we'll be right back after we switch up the camera angle here. Okay, I'm going to take a little closer look now at the Subtank Mini and everything that comes in the package. The back of this box gives you the entire list here. There's the one Subtank Mini, one OCC, the organic cotton coil, 0.5 ohm with a range of 15 to 30 watts, one 1.2 ohm OCC with a range of 12 to 25 watts, then two RBA 0.5 30 watt coils, and we'll take a look at all this stuff here in a minute. The Mini RBA base, an extra Pyrex glass tube, screwdriver, 2 screws, and the manual. All that included with the Subtank Mini. So let's get a little closer look at the tank itself here. Take that out of the box. And as with the Nano, if you can see that, Kangertech is engraved right into the tank. You can see the red O-rings, the airflow control. There's the 2 holes, which is about the intermediate setting. See if I can get this to turn. 1 hole, which is the lower setting. Then it goes all the way closed. And then wide open. And it does click on each different setting so you know when you've got it where it's supposed to be. Again, it comes with the 0.5 ohm coil already installed. Let's see what's in the rest of this box. Give you a little closer look. The authentication card. The manual. Now the manual on the Mini, a little different than what it was on the Nano, and that's because you've got the whole RBA issue to deal with. So it goes through a few pages on how to take the RBA apart and put it back together. And then just the tips on filling the e-juice and replacing the coils. And again, the warning, do not dry burn these coils because that organic cotton will just burn right up if you do. Now here's some extra cotton for the RBA. It's the Japanese organic cotton. And then also in here you've got the screwdriver, a couple of extra screws, and some extra O-rings. Your extra Pyrex tank. And then if I can get these out of here, there we go. That's the 1.2 ohm coil. I'll try and get it so you can see that it's etched right into the side of the coil, 1.2 ohms, and it gives you what the range is, suggested range is on that. And it's so small, I can barely read it. 12 watts to 25 watts is the suggested wattage settings for the 1.2 ohm coil. Set that there, and then, well, that's really in there good. Here we go. Here is the RBA coil. What does it say on there? Kangertech Mini RBA. Try and get this at an angle where you can actually read it. I don't know how clear it's going to be, because the viewfinder on my camera is pretty small. Now today we're not going to mess with this RBA at all. During the course of our trying this out for a full review, we might, or that might be a separate video altogether, how to do the RBA, because to be honest with you, I have never built any coils, so this is going to be a real introduction for me. But again, we're going to take this apart and we will put a little bit of juice in it, let it soak in there for a little while, and then give it a couple of vapes just to give you an initial idea of how this is going to vape. There was one other thing I forgot to show you, just how wide a bore there is on that drip tip, and the drip tip is removable. It has the red O-ring in it as well. Now the hole beyond the drip tip, of course, is a little bit smaller than the bore on the drip tip, but that's going to make sure that you get the full benefit of all the vapor that comes with that. So let's take this apart so that we can put some juice in there. You can see, now the inside of this is set up a little bit different than it was on the Nano as well. But there's the coil, and it is the 0.5 ohm with a range of 15 to 30 watts. I don't know if you can see that very clearly there or not. So the first thing we're going to do, take a look now. You see the coil down in there with wrapped around that cotton, that organic Japanese cotton. We're going to put several drops, and we're using an RY4V from Vapes Gone Wild in Noonan, Georgia here today because, well, it's a long story. I'll tell you why as I'm putting a few drops of juice directly onto the cotton wick just to make sure we don't burn this thing up. Because we're going to be using the 0.5 ohm coil in this first look, my mod, the E-Leaf iStick, will not fire a 0.5 coil. Now my wife has a DovePo E-Mech that will fire a 0.5 coil. We'll get that in there. We're going to screw this back together, then take off the air control system and fill the tank up and let it soak. Because it is her mod, she got to pick the juice that we're going to use first. Now that whole thing's coming out again. Okay, finally managed to get it apart. Let's fill this tank up with juice, making sure we don't get it into that center hole. And to finish the story anyway, so since it's my wife's mod that we're going to be using on this 0.5 ohm coil, she got to pick the juice, and she'll be doing some of the vaping on it as well to help me come up with a review. Whether or not we can get her on camera, that's a whole nother story. We'll put this back together, let it soak, and then we'll get a first couple of vapes off of the Subtank Mini. Okay, we now have the Kangertech Subtank Mini attached to my wife's DovePo E-Mech. This is a great little mod. I'm going to have to get her to either let me borrow it more often so I can do a review, or get her to do it. Now let's see, we have it set at 15 watts. That is the lowest wattage recommended for this 0.5 ohm tank, and you can take it all the way up to 30. We're going to try it at 15 first with the air control setting wide open, see what kind of vape we get out of it. That's pretty nice. Now this particular juice that we're using is from Vapes Gone Wild in Noonan, Georgia, RY4V, 18 meg of nicotine, which might be a little strong for using this 0.5 ohm coil, but it is a max VG, so that's going to help us get a pretty good cloud out of it. Let's take it up a little bit. Let's see. We can go all the way up to 30, and so can this mod. Well, let's take it there. I don't want to kill myself here. Let's try it at 20 watts. That's pretty good. The taste, what I really like about these OCC coils, the organic cotton coils so far, and I've only been using the Nano for about a day or so, this is the first time vaping off of the Mini, is that the cotton does not interfere with the taste of the juice. For such a short little vape there, that's a good bit of vapor coming out. That's a nice sized cloud. Thanks so much for stopping by 7 Report today. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our website, 7report.com. You have to spell out the word 7. For more reviews of hardware and e-juice, keep checking back. We'll have a full review of the Subtank Mini coming up after we've used it for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Vaped at least a couple of different tanks, swapped out and tried the 1.2 ohm coil. I think what we'll probably wind up doing with the rebuildable coil is do a whole nother video on that. So that'll probably take several weeks before we're ready with that. But again, thanks for stopping by 7 Report, and embrace the vape.